So closer to the beginning of this year in 2025, I had made a video about the Disney dining plan and whether or not it was worth it in 2025 with all the cost breakdowns and all of that. And the conclusion, at least from me, was that it's not worth it. It's not going to save you any money the way that it is right now in 2025. But I wanted to give an update for going into 2026, especially because Disney came out with a promotion that if the adults in the party, in your family, are buying the Disney dining plan, quick service or the regular one, that kids ages 3 to 9 get a dining plan for free. Now, when you hear that, it really sounds like a really great deal. And I actually went ahead and said that it was such a great deal in a couple of my other videos that I had made about the promotions for next year. But I did just want to kind of really break it down and look at the math and see, is it really still worth it even if your kids are eating for free? So let's get into all of that, all of the breakdown, and see what we all think. So I just wanted to quickly break down what exactly is included in the dining plan before we jump all the way in. So you have the quick service dining plan and then you have the regular Disney dining plan. So the quick service dining plan gives you 2 quick service meals per day, as well as 1 snack and a refillable mug for you to use for your stay. Now, the refillable mug is one of those souvenir cups that you can get when you're staying at your resort, and those are good only at the resorts. You can't bring them into the park and use them. I mean, you can bring it in if you already have stuff in there, but you can't refill it for free in the parks. It's only at the resorts, and it's good for soft drinks and coffee. So that is something else to consider, is that the refillable mug is valued at around $22 to $24. So that is something to add into the cost, and whether or not you feel that that is worth it for you and your family. So to start out, the quick service dining plan per night per adult is around $60 per adult per day, right? So per night of your trip. The regular Disney dining plan is running about $98 per night per adult. So when we're looking at, and obviously the examples I'm using are a family where all of the kids are fitting in between this age 3 to 9. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. Obviously, if you have kids that are older than 9 and are eating, their pricing as adults, that's something else that you need to think about, because obviously you're paying for them. They're not going to be free. So right now we're only talking about the adults in your party and then the kids in your party getting their plan for free and whether it's worth it. So to start off, we're going to say we're spending our day in Magic Kingdom. Now, one thing that you have to remember is that both of these plans only cover 2 meals. So if you're a family that likes to have 3 full meals, one of those meals has to be paid out of pocket. Now, it's obviously breakfast is going to be a little bit easier and cheaper. So you don't want to use your dining credits for breakfast really, because it's just not going to pay off in the long run, because let's face it, the way Disney is doing these prices is based on the most expensive items on the menus, right? So obviously the dinner prices are going to be more expensive. They're also going to be including alcoholic beverages. Whether you drink alcoholic beverages or not, that is included in the price, because you can get an alcoholic beverage with your meal. So they're going to be looking at the most expensive cocktail that's on the menus. That's how they're pricing out the plans. So if you don't drink any alcohol, or anything like that, they also include dessert. If you don't normally eat desserts when you're going out to eat, then these are the things you really need to look at. Okay, so we're in Magic Kingdom, and I'm going as an adult with my 1 child who's age 3 to 9, and we're in Magic Kingdom. What we did was we got a grocery delivery to our resort, filled with quick, easy breakfast items like muffins or, things like that you can very quickly eat for breakfast. Okay, so breakfast is taken care of. It is paid out of pocket, but very minimally. So for lunch, we're going to go to Cosmic Rays. I'm going to get a burger for $13.29. and my child is going to get the chicken fingers. So we're doing the quick service dining plan, and that is priced at around $60 per day. So to make the quick service plan worth it, the cost that I'm going through right now is to pretend that we don't have the dining plan, to see the difference between that. So if the quick service dining plan is going to cost $60 because that's the adult price, my kid's free, the out of pocket cost without the dining plan needs to be higher than the $60 for it to make sense to do the dining plan. So that's my lunch meal, was the burger and the chicken fingers for my kid for lunch. Now we're going to have a snack. We're each going to get a Dole Whip for $7.29 each. And then for dinner, we're going to head over to Pecos Bill, because again, this is the quick service dining plan, so we're not doing a table service. We're going to head over to Pecos Bill for dinner. I'm going to get a nacho bowl for $12.99, and my child's going to get a cheeseburger for $8.99. So the cost of that combined was $58. That's $2 under the $60 quick service plan, right? $60 per day. We just spent $58. Now that doesn't include the cost of the refillable mug, so you can add on a couple of dollars. But again, the refillable mug is only worth it if you are really going to use it all the time. You know, if you drink a lot of soda or hot coffee or iced coffee, whatever, and then you can refill the mug and it's really worth it to you, then that might be. You know, for my family, we don't drink soda. All we drink is water. You know, I love coffee. I'm a coffee drinker, but when I'm on vacation, I like to drink lattes and specialty coffees. So I'm not going to use the refillable mug for hot coffee or anything like that either. So for us, the refillable mug is definitely not worth it. We'd rather get a different kind of souvenir, you know, that we're going to use all the time at home and stuff like that. You know, the refillable mugs are cute, but I don't really want to spend $22 to $24 on it if it's not going to benefit me, especially for what it's used for. Now, this also didn't include an alcoholic beverage, right? Because in Magic Kingdom, you really can't get alcoholic beverages at quick service locations. So that's why I specifically chose Magic Kingdom. Now, in other parks, you can get alcoholic beverages at quick services usually. So if you're going to get an alcoholic beverage with your quick service plan, then that will kind of bump your price up a little bit and probably, you know, maybe break even or send it a little bit over the cost. So we're looking kind of almost breaking even with the quick service plan with that example that I just used. So now we're going to go into the regular dining plan, and we're going to do two different scenarios. One is going to be with a character dining location with a much more expensive meal versus a regular a la carte meal, and see how that balances out. Okay, so we're sticking in Magic Kingdom, and we're still going to do the same Cosmic Rays lunch with the burger for $13.29 and the chicken finger meal for $8.99. So that's for our lunch. We're going to do the same thing we did for breakfast, getting our grocery delivery, and now we're going to head to dinner, and we're going to go to Crystal Palace in Magic Kingdom for our dinners, which is a character dining spot. So it's always going to be a little bit more expensive. So for adults at Crystal Palace, it's $64, and then for a child, it's $44. So that's our dinner price. And obviously that's including an alcoholic beverage, if that's what you want, and as well as a dessert, but it's a buffet. So, you know, you get your desserts included in the pricing. So along with the buffet, I'm also going to order the most expensive cocktail on the menu, which is the Island Fusion Punch for $16.50. So we're also doing the two snacks during the day, which was the two Dole Whips for $7.29. And that is going to bring our price up to almost $160. So even if I decided to change my alcoholic beverage to just like the cheapest beer on the menu, which was around $10, it's still going to be more than that $90 for the dining plan. And even without an alcoholic beverage, it would still be more than the dining plan. So the dining plan does win in that scenario. But remember, character dining locations are going to be more expensive. So if you don't plan on going to a character dining meal or a really expensive restaurant every day of your trip, you might be falling short of the cost. Because another thing to remember is not all character dining or even regular restaurants, the more expensive ones, some of those that are signature restaurants do require 2 dining credits instead of just 1. So that is really going to, mix up how you are spending your money, because if you're using 2 of your credits towards 1 meal, that means you need to pay out of pocket for one of your other meals during the day. And that might be what you want to do. Maybe you say, we're going to go to this signature dining restaurant and use 2 credits. And then the next day, we're just going to snack. And, we might have to pay out of pocket, but it's just going to be a snacky kind of day. So, it doesn't really matter too much. You can use 1 credit for lunch and then just kind of do snacks, like especially if you're going to Epcot for like the festivals or anything like that, you might want to consider doing that, which would definitely help out in that way. Now we're going to go to Tony's Town Square in Magic Kingdom instead of Crystal Palace. So with everything all the same as before, the breakfast, the lunch at Cosmic Rays, and the snacks, the Dole Whips, now we're going to dinner at Tony's Town Square. I'm going to get the chicken parm for $34, and my child's going to get the chicken and potato meal for $12.50, which already includes a dessert. So I'm actually just going to add a dessert on to that meal. I'm going to get the chocolate cake for $9. So with that all included, the lunch and the dinner and the snacks, it comes to $77. Now, that's a lot lower than $90. Even if you added on an alcoholic beverage, it's still going to be under that $90. So again, it really depends on what you are buying, what food you're getting. If you're getting the most expensive item on the menu, if you're going to get the most expensive alcoholic beverage on the menu, that really, really makes a difference. So is the dining plan worth it for 2026 with this new promotion? I'm going to say that is honestly a toss-up. I know that that's not a definitive answer, but it really does depend on how you and your family eat. The quick service dining plan seems a little bit more reasonable with pricing, especially, depending on where you go. And again, if you're going to get an alcoholic beverage with it does seem a little bit more cost comparative, almost kind of like break even. So, if that is, if you like to have the dining plan, for convenience, doing the quick service one might be the best bet. And then maybe saving up some extra money for 1 or 2 table service meals that you want to do. So the families that absolutely would not benefit at all from the dining plan are those that don't really like having big meals. They would rather just snack all day, and then maybe if they're hungry enough, maybe they'll go to a sit-down meal, or maybe they just like to get appetizers at the restaurants and then snack the rest of the day. The dining plan is not going to work for you. You're going to wind up with a lot of unused credits, which equals wasted money. So if you are a snacking type of family, which my family is, we love to just snack all day, and then if we're hungry, maybe we'll go to a quick service restaurant to get some dinner at the end of the night if we're still hungry. But that's the Disney dining plan would not benefit my family at all, even with the promotion. So it is something to really think about if that is how your family is. Another scenario where it wouldn't work is if the adult or adults who are buying the dining plan definitely don't drink alcohol like ever, or they prefer to have smaller meals at restaurants, because you can order kids meals at quick service restaurants and dining and the table service restaurants. So if that is you, then you're definitely going to be wasting money as well, because as we said, Disney plans out these prices based on the most expensive items on the menu. So if you're not even going to look at those items, then the dining plan is not going to work for you. So that does it for this video. Definitely leave down in the comments what you think, how you feel about the dining plan now that you've kind of seen the math of it. Are you going to get the dining plan in 2026? Did you change your mind? Please leave the comments down below, and I'd love to hear from you. And go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if it helped you out in any way. Don't forget to subscribe, and until next time.